Hey YouTube, L to the W. Today we're going to be working on the 2013 Chevy Equinox. I'm going to be replacing this wheel bearing. Uh, Driving down the road, getting a little bit of a humming noise. And kind of driving around, letting the wife drive, kind of isolated to the back of the car. Plus, I suspect it being the back that unfortunately about a year ago, asshole ran a red light and hit her in the front, and it spun this thing around on the back end. Her wheelchair got thrown off. So to me, I think that twisting on the back is probably what did it, and unfortunately it didn't show itself right away. And second, I don't drive the vehicle except maybe if we're going on a trip or something. So I mean, I've never heard it until last time we went somewhere. So it's a little bit late to probably try to get the insurance to do anything. But anyway, bearings will go bad irregardless. So I mean, it could just be defective bearing or something. But we're gonna go ahead and get this replaced. It's not that hard of a job. You got 4 bolts that go in from the back side to hold this in, and that's it. We're gonna have to, take the brakes off and get this drum off. It's kind of a drum. This is a drum brake for your parking brake in here, and then your disc kind of combo. But the hard parts here is gonna be getting this rust off. So first thing I'm gonna do is take my little wire brush with my drill like that and just get some of this cleaned up, and then I'm gonna soak it with some PB Blaster, and I'm gonna get that process started. Okay, we also have a T30, a Torx 30 screw right there that needs to come out to get that. I'll put a little oil on that to help it break free. So while we're letting that soak, we're gonna go ahead and get this brake caliper off. There's 2 bolts, one right here, and then another one, I'm talking about down right here. And that's it. We just need to get the whole bracket out of the way. There's no reason to take these 2 caliper bolts out. Save yourself the effort. There's no reason to take the caliper free from the bracket. All we need to do is take these 2 bolts out. Right. This is a 15 millimeter, and these are on tight. They use the red Loctite, so they are on there pretty good. Don't be afraid to lean on it. You gotta break that Loctite free. Alright, so take this off, and we're just gonna set it over here carefully not to damage that brake line. I'm just gonna sit it there. Now we're gonna take this. There it goes. Let's see it pop loose. Now this is where you saw me take the brush earlier and get that rust off. It's going to help, because now you have to slide it off of this. And we have these 4 bolts that have to come out. These 2 here, you're going to need a deep socket, because you can see a short one the ratchet will hit. Then over here you can see a deep socket's not really going to work too good, because you're going to end up hitting this shock. And then on this side, what I use was, I have what's called a universal. Makes life easy. You can get in here on the bolt and then maneuver your ratchet a little bit away. Now, not the best thing in the world, or my favorite thing to kind of use, but they will get you out of a pinch, because it's really hard to get anything else in here. Like I said, this one here, you can kind of get this ratchet on, but your problem down here on this one you run into is you're right up on this shock, and a regular shallow socket just is not going to be deep enough. So I'm going to work on getting those 4 bolts. I'm not going to drag out the video showing you me taking these out, especially because there's no good way for me to get this camera to sit. But those are the 4 bolts, and like I said, my recommendation is like maybe a universal on that bottom one, or unless maybe you got a semi-deep socket or some other way you can get in there, but that's just the way I'm doing it. Okay, one other thing I forgot to mention before you take these bolts out, your anti-lock, it's right here. The wire, the sensor goes right here into your hub, and here's the wire. So push him back here and pull, and we need to loosen this wire. This is going to help you, because when those 4 bolts come out, this thing's just going to drop, and you don't want to put a bunch of tension on that and risk breaking that sensor. There's your tip of the day from your L to the W. Let's go get this bearing out. Alright, so when you're taking that last bolt out, make sure you secure this. Like I just kind of use my knee, because this will just drop. And this is where I said take that wire out. You can see it won't fit. So this is a 5mm Allen that holds your sensor in. Now notice the blue, that's blue thread locker. So make sure you do the same. That stuff you can get at any auto parts store, even Walmart. Thread locker. Now you notice these bolts have this pink kind of stuff on it. All the bolts that held the bearing and the brakes in. This is going to be your red thread locker. That's why when you're taking these bolts out, they always feel pressure on them. They don't break loose and just walk out easy, because these are thread lockers. So important to put that stuff back on. We'll go ahead and take this rubber protective plug out. I'll go ahead and put this sensor back in. I need a little bit of this blue thread locker on there. Now remember, this sensor is just plastic, so you don't really want to overdo it. That's what the thread locker's there for, make sure it doesn't back out. Just, you know, give it a little tightness. Now, here's what I recommend on doing this. Go ahead and take one of our bolts here and get our thread locker in. God, I hope you all can see this. And then we'll get our plate started. Be one less thing that you gotta mess with holding. Alright, now your anti-lock sensor is gonna face this way. So we'll grab the wire and pull this through as we get this situated. Try to get these bolts started. Okay, so there you go. Hopefully that little tip there will help somebody. So I put the thread locker on, got the bolts through, and then I hung this plate up, used the bolts to kind of hold it, and then I was able to maneuver this into place. And like I said, by using the socket I just dropped, I was able to turn the bolts enough to get it to where it's in there, so now I can get all 4 bolts in pretty comfortably. I don't have the service manual. I'm just going based on what I saw in the Equinox forums, that the torque for those 4 bolts are 52 foot-pounds. If you have a manual, if you could put in the comments below if that's right. I mean, it sounds pretty right to me. I didn't go by one statement. I found it on about 3 or 4 different places, but 52 sounds about right. So make sure, I mean, this thing holds your entire wheel on. Don't mess around. Use the thread locker and torque these properly. If that bearing comes off, your whole wheel's come off. Those 4 bolts are the only thing that holds your 5 lug nuts and everything on there. So do this stuff right. And if this is really kind of above your comfort level, take it to a mechanic. I'm putting this out there for people that have some basic mechanical know-how and feel comfortable doing this. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up and come back for the next step. Alright, now when you put your rotor back on, don't forget to line up that hole with the threads that are in the bearing, so you can screw your rotor back on. Now next, we're going to put our caliper back on. Now, just take your hands and push your pads back, because they probably moved a little bit with you bouncing around. And we'll go ahead and just get this slid back on. And don't forget, we're going to put our thread locker on here. Our red. That's what the factory did. And once you get these two bolts on, torque them to 92 pounds. Like I said, I don't have the service manual, so I'm just going based on what was said, but the service manual on my HHR call for 90 pounds on the brackets too, so that should be about right. And I did make a mistake earlier on the bearing torque. Instead of it being 42, it's supposed to be 52, so make sure you do that correctly. So torque these down to 92 foot-pounds. Use your red thread locker, your brakes are on, and you're done with the job. Congratulations, you got your new wheel bearings. Again, thanks for watching. Likes, shares, comments, definitely appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel for more videos. We'll catch you on the next one.